Welcome to the show. I have a very special record, one of my favorites. It's Artie Shaw and his orchestra's Moonglow on RCA Records from 1956. Now this is a compilation album, meaning they took a lot of singles that were recorded back in the late 30s during the height of the swing era and just kind of put them together on one album. You're listening to the title track Moonglow, and this, oh my goodness, it's just a super romantic song. I love it. It's it just makes me want to step into an old movie and grab that leading lady and go out on the dance floor. It kind of like actually the cover of the album. I don't know if I'd want to be in a giant clarinet. I really like this album cover. There's just something simple about it that I really dig. Maybe it's the blue tone, maybe it's just the way the letters are. This is actually the second copy I've owned. The first one I had a big old piece of masking tape on it and the cover was just trash. So I found this one at a thrift store, so I just had to snatch it up because mine was in worse shape. It's sort of hard to imagine today, but back when Artie Shaw hired Billie Holiday to be his lead vocalist when he toured the then segregated South, that was a big deal. Up until then, no white band leader hired a full-time black female vocalist, and unfortunately the pairing didn't really last too long, as she faced a lot of hostility from the southern audiences. And Artie was kind of under some pressure from RCA to find someone a little bit more mainstream and, you know, less controversial at the time, but still making waves back then. So let me play you side 2, track 3, Begin to Begin. Now this is a song that put Artie on the map. It was originally written by Cole Porter in 1934, but it really wasn't a hit. So when Artie Shaw got signed to RCA in 1938, this was one of the first tracks he wanted to do. And RCA, knowing this song really wasn't a hit, you know, said, okay, you can do that, but we're going to put it on the B side. Well, sure enough, this song became the biggest selling record in 1938, and it shot Artie Shaw right to the top. And since then, it's become one of the defining songs of the swing era. Artie and his band went on to have several more hits during this time, and they sold over 100 million records, but Artie really didn't care. He was more content to experiment and innovate music. Like, he was on the forefront of combining classical and jazz music together. He found the pressure of making hit after hit a little too much for him. And then on top of that, he enlisted in the Navy and during World War II, and he started a band and played for the boys in the Pacific, but actually got burnt out by the schedule and he was discharged for medical reasons. And he formed a smaller band of about 5 or 6 other members and experimented a little bit more using a harpsichord in some of the arrangements, but he didn't really have another hit after that. And in 1954, he pretty much called it quits, which is funny because 2 years later this compilation comes out. Okay, moving on to track 5, side 2, Nightmare. Ooh, this is a cool song. Oh my goodness, this is wow. Now you may recognize this tune as it was used in The Aviator, Martin Scorsese's film. The funny thing is, this is Artie Shaw's theme. This is his theme music. He wrote this for himself, and this really explains, you know, him and his life. Despite all of success, I don't think Artie Shaw was really a happy guy. I mean, just listen to this theme song. Over the course of his life, he had 8 marriages, 2 of them with very famous actresses, Ava Gardner and Lana Turner. After his retirement, he started writing, and his autobiography is titled The Trouble with Cinderella, and he goes on to explain it as nobody lives happily ever after. He also wrote some fiction books. One of them's titled I Love You, I Hate You, Drop Dead. Yeah, he must have been a character. I'm gonna end with one of my favorites. This is side 1, track 5, All the Things You Are. My goodness, there's just something about this track. It's so, I really feel, especially in this song, you get the taste of Artie's kind of bittersweet take on life. He really put himself into his arrangements. I mean, a lot of the other bands were a little bright and cheerful, but with Artie Shaw, there's that subtle sourness, the little bit of the blue note in with his music. His music was real. It was a reflection of the times. I mean, they were just 1938, I mean, World War I, and then the Great Depression, and then leading right into World War II. I mean, that's a heavy, heavy time period, and And to not acknowledge that in your music, I think is a great disservice. But he must have found something worth living for, because he lived to be 94. He died in 2004. So this has been Artie Shaw's Moonglow. Definitely pick this one up. I highly recommend it. It's a great introduction into the swing era by one of the greats, Artie Shaw. Before I go though, I'd like to introduce a brand new segment to the show called Awesome Finds. And I have some awesome finds for you guys. Let me tell you, I went up north to visit my family a couple weekends ago, and I stopped by some garage sales, and I picked up some great records. I want to share them with you real quick, okay? First up, the Supremes' Where Did Our Love Go? This is in excellent shape. It's original issue, mono release from 1964, Motown Records. It's got some great hits on here, and I got it for $1. The other album I got is the soundtrack to Mary Poppins, and it's a picture disc. This thing is too cool, man. Also got it for $1. Chim Chim Cheree, right back here. Dick Van Dyke. Love this scene growing up. Oh my goodness, I just want to put this on my wall at this point. I think this is from the 80s, and it must have been something you could pick up at Disneyland or something. I don't know, because it's definitely not the original soundtrack. Okay guys, that is the show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys haven't seen it yet, check out the new poster. It's kind of a hint of things to come. I am your Vinyl Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side.
Happy arms will hold you, and someday I'll know that moment divine when I